I'm going to move on to
Jokic.
Jokic.
That was insane. That was so fun to watch. We hadn't had like we very frustrating series with the Wolves. It was kind of funny that was against Gobert again, but it wasn't. I don't think there was a super like head to head Jokic Gobert thing going on. It was more like Jokic Wemby going on. Um,
So both teams decided to go like ultra double big, right? Because you've got Wemby at the 4 for Team France with Rudy at 5, and for Serbia you had Jokic at the 4 with Milutinov at the 5 for Serbia. Like in what universe? We saw this early on in the Nuggets, the Jokic era, where Jokic was starting alongside Nurkic, and he was playing the 4, and it was like, this isn't working out because like Jokic can't guard NBA 4s. But now Wemby's over here, and he really is a 5, and he's playing the 4. I thought it was so honestly, it was like cool and refreshing to watch these guys go at each other because you
yeah, it
could
was.
tell. I posted this poll right before the game, about an hour or so before the game, asking whether people thought that Jokic was going to take this game seriously because I think it was Team Serbia's like third or fourth friendly game. Everyone thought he'd be coasting, but I
Hmm.
thought he was taking it seriously just because of like national pride or whatever. But let me tell you, when I saw Jokic in this game, he, no matter how seriously I thought he was going to take it, I did not think he was going to come out with the level of competitive fire that he
That he
had in
did
this
have.
game. I think like Wemby just brings that out of him. We played the Spurs, was it 3 or 4 times last year? And yes, we lost the last game. It's all very sad. Devontae Graham, boo-hoo. Season's over. In every one of those games, like Jokic was taking it to Wemby.
Yeah,
And he didn't have to. But
yeah.
he does that. Like he takes that matchup personally, and Wemby does too.
I think there was like in that first game versus Wemby, a little adjustment period where Jokic was kind of like getting used to just what it was like to play against him, and then he kind of was fine. And then in the second game, he was like
Wemby
going,
makes some adjustments
yeah,
too,
and
and
then he was kind of going to the floater and just like shooting over him, and like
yeah,
and the timing of it all was really nice, and he figured it out. This one, he was just like being super aggressive and physical
super
with him.
aggressive.
It's
You picked up a
crazy.
couple of offensive foul
Yeah,
calls
he was just like,
where
I
I was
don't
kind of
care,
surprised
man.
that those whistles were happening,
I think he
frankly,
was like he
because
knows there's technically more physicality, and he was just
yeah,
like, I'm gonna like push
he's just like
and
sending a message, like
yeah,
setting the
well,
tone real early in this
send a
game,
message and like push the boundaries and see what you can kind of like get
right?
away with, and like
Yeah,
like barrel into him,
right.
push him with your arm, like do whatever. And I love the competitive fire from him. The three, the step back three, reverse layup and
Oh,
one,
the reverse layup and
which
one.
was maybe an offensive foul. I was talking about that because he like kind of extended a little bit,
Yeah, but
but
whatever. It wasn't called.
yeah,
What a perfect game to watch as a palate cleanser for a Nuggets fan. Before
yeah, it
we
really
later
was.
get Summer League and all of that
The vibes
nonsense.
were very high. The hopes were
Yes,
very high.
the hopes are still high because
Yeah.
reliving this game in my mind right now, I'm like, damn, we have the best player in the world on our team,
Yeah.
bar
You
none.
have to just like take it in and appreciate it.
Yeah,
Even if it's like, yeah, championship, we're all focused on that, but enjoy Jokic. It is kind of cool that we go from talking about Jamal to talking about Jokic because that's really just like what it is at the end of the day. Like
yeah.
if both of them are amazing, like what else do you really need? You can get into
Just
the
role
detail. You
players.
can get into the details about like who that is and how many, and like we did lose KCB, but like these guys are amazing. And I know Jamal's in a slump right now. Whatever. Jokic is looking like Jokic, and that's
Yes,
nice.
and that's the thing. Because if Jokic doesn't look like Jokic, it's just over.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to see Jokic
Whoa.
look like Jokic and be like, oh yeah, no, we definitely have the clear best player in the world on our team. It would be great if the jump shot came back consistently, like he had that one step back
Oh yeah,
three, and that was nice. We'll
that was
see. We'll
fun.
see how he looks throughout the rest of the Olympics and international play in general. I actually do have the team Serbia preparation game schedule. They are playing Team USA on the 17th, and I'm really excited for that game. They're
Hmm.
playing Team Australia actually on the 16th, so that's annoying. They have Team USA on a back to back for an exhibition game?
Damn,
What the
Adam Silver
hell?
has gotten to the Olympic planners.
No, I don't think Adam cares. He just doesn't care about Team Serbia.
He
That's what
just
it
wants
is.
Jokic to always play the tough players on back to backs.
It's just Jokic is just playing the game on hard mode.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
like, injure all of my teammates.
Yeah.
Give me back-to-backs in the Olympics. Don't give me a full
Hmm.
off season for like 4 years.
Hmm.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah. There was even some plays where he maybe like jumped the gun on the pass or was like a little too quick for his teammates or he was like ahead of the play mentally and the timing was a little bit off and his teammates didn't expect it and couldn't
Oh
score
my
and
gosh. Don't get me started on Milutinov not being ready for
for the
that
pass.
dump off pass. That touch. That was like a touch dump off pass. And he somehow got it like clean around Rudy, and Milutinov was just not ready for it. He did not look great in this game. But
Yeah.
actually, that would explain what happened in the second half, where I think both teams decided to change the rotations up a bit. So we got more minutes with Jokic at 5 and more minutes with Wemby at 5 in the second half. And Rudy was coming off the bench, so they started to stagger
Yeah.
those guys a bit more. Same with Milutinov for Team Serbia.
Yeah, Rudy
And
got in foul trouble like
he
yeah.
did, but that didn't affect the rotation. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't in foul trouble in the first half, but he did. He didn't foul out. Jokic actually fouled out because of
Jokic
his
fouled out.
offensive foul. And it was actually on an offensive foul call that he fouled out of this game in the fourth quarter. And it was like Team Serbia starting to sell, but after a little bit, Micic decided to like, I don't know, make a shot. It was really funny because it was just a really bad sequence of plays for Vasilij Micic. And on one of the like worst ones, like the lead is dwindling and France is starting to come back and we're getting into clutch time. My recollection is that Micic missed a box out on Bilal Koulibaly on defense, and Bilal came out, got the putback. And then it was like the next play down, he like turns the ball over, and I was just like, oh my God, what is happening? And then I think they get a run out and a dunk. So Team France, like,
Got
I don't remember if they ended up tying the game. They just like made it really close.
it got it close.
Yeah.
And then Jokic fouled out and
Jokic fouled out.
there were some pretty good threes made by I can't remember who
Micic made one.
Micic made
Bogey.
one.
Oh, Guterich.
Yeah.
Love the small
He had a
forward. I love
huge
Guterich.
three.
Yeah.
And then Micic had one where he kind of drove it into the paint, middle of the paint, swarmed, kicked it out.
Oh, it was Petrushev.
Yes.
Yes. Who on like a couple of possessions earlier, he like fumbled a defensive rebound out of bounds, and then France got the ball back, and I forget if they got a layup out of it or a three.
Something,
it was just another like, can you guys please stop selling this game?
It actually was
was
quite
tough.
shocking to watch the like aggressive battle of the on the glass in that
Yeah.
game, and then look at the summer league game where there was no rebounding to be had.
Yeah, that was very different. Yeah, because like Jokic is out there like in an exhibition game, like trying for dear life to
pushing,
tap the
literally
ball
just like
out from Wemby's
throwing
like.
people to the floor.
He
He was just grabbing and just like
He really was.
He didn't give a
was just
shit.
like, no, this is like playing for your national team, Jokic. Like we're about to see like the guy.
I loved it when he would
right?
get and ones and like he was high fiving his teammates and
Yeah.
like the look on his face.
He had that like there's like this littlest smirk that he's trying so hard to suppress, and he's really good at it because if you're not looking for it, you don't see it, but it's right there, and you can tell like he loves this, and I love seeing him enjoy the game that much, enjoy the competition that much.
It's gonna be so fun to watch him, and I'm glad we got the Olympics this summer. So
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the Team Serbia standouts. We talked about Micic, and then he was kind of a disaster, but then he made a clutch three. That's something. Watching him here, I'm like, oh, I don't know that he's the kind of ball handler that we need
you
for the
want.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting that Team Serbia decided to start Aleksa Avramovic over Micic. This is next to Bogey, so Bogey was going to start. He's the team captain. He kind of played point for them last summer. But Aleksa is like really a defender.
Yeah, I liked him in the game.
I like him so much. Like
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with this guy's on-ball defense. He's so pesky, and like when he can also like hit his shots and stuff like that. Like he's like Serbian Jalen Suggs in my head.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
He was sick. I was like really
I
impressed.
love him. I didn't like how they didn't start him in the second half. They started Micic, and I'm like, oh, stop playing around with things. Like,
Yeah.
is it just doing his thing in the coaching over there? And I don't want the Serbians to get mad at me for criticizing Pesic for his coaching in an exhibition game. Like, it's whatever. Teams are trying different stuff out. I like that Bogey eventually got really aggressive in this game. I thought he was pretty passive to start.
he was
I don't
a
know
little
what that
bit.
was about, because maybe it's just like last summer he was like team leader. He really was like the guy. And, this year Jokic is back, and, they're trying to get other guys going and all of that. But I thought that Bogu was pretty passive in the first half. Second half, they really needed him, and he started to step up, and I was a fan. Love him. Like, his process is great. Like, he just is such a great everything for that team.
It's kind of interesting though because you'd think with Wemby and Gobert that it would be maybe a tough game for Jokic, like because you'd have to be super physical to score and succeed.
Yeah,
So,
like they're so skinny. Like the
yeah,
reason that Rudy is tough on the Wolves is because Cat's there.
yeah, exactly.
Like,
So it's not the same
like Jokic
dynamic.
doesn't have a problem with Rudy. We saw
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
He does not have a problem with Wemby individually. Like, yeah, Wemby's gonna get blocks on him. He did in this
It's
game. He
just-
blocked, like, people call it the floater, but he was kind of going for the runner, and then Wemby blocked it. I
Yeah.
thought that should have ended in a jump ball because he didn't like
That's
block it
true.
out like
I
out
thought
of his
that
hands.
too, but I don't know.
It was weird. It's like it's either a travel or a jump ball because Jokic went down with
They
the ball
called
in his
the
hands
travel.
after.
Did-
Oh, maybe they did call it a travel.
I thought
'Cause
they
maybe
called it
France got the
travel.
ball. Maybe they did call it a travel, but I thought it should have been a jump ball.
Yeah, so did I.
Anyway,
Gobert and Wemby are kind of like the 1-2 for
Yeah.
defensive player of the year. So on paper, you're kind of, you're just like, whoa, this might be tough for Jokic.
whatever.
Obviously, Jokic is transcendent
Well,
and
you could have a
proved it,
1-2
but
of like Marcus Smart and Drew Holiday for Defensive Player of the Year, and they're not going to bother Jokic. Like, it's
Yeah.
the archetype of player, right?
right. Well, you have to be smart and observant to think that. But I was just saying, on paper,
Yeah.
from a glance,
Yeah, yeah.
you might think that. So Bogey might need to take over and do some stuff. But he let Jokic do his thing, so that was great.
Thought Goodrich was great in this game, particularly in the second half. And yeah, for Team France, I wanted to shout out the role players. I thought that Rudy, first of all, like, I barely noticed him in this game
Yeah,
on
I
either end of
agree.
the floor. Evan Fournier, though, FIBA Fournier, really annoying because he's like, oh, this guy looks like he can play basketball. He had some like pesky on-ball defense. He like forced a turnover on Micic, and I'm like, bro, you can't get ripped by Evan Fournier. What are we doing right now?
Not a good look.
And Nicholas Batum, the probably like highest on my list of like, besides Al Horford, of like should have been a Nugget and probably is never going to be a Nugget, is Nico Batum, because he just is a vet and he does everything on the floor. He was hitting like movement threes from the corner, and I'm like, this guy's serious right now. He makes post entry passes. He uses his length on defense to get deflections and steals. He can make inbounds passes without like turning the ball over necessarily and like all of that stuff. So he was great. He was doing all the things. He was probably the best at sort of helping Wemby navigate the minutes that had otherwise all bench players and all of that. So they're going to be just like, I can just see Batum and Fournier being a pain in the ass of the other teams in that group of death that France is in with Canada. I think it's them, Australia, Greece. Every team on that list wishes they had a Nico Batum. I can guarantee
Yeah,
that.
that was pretty. I don't know that I was surprised, but there are just times where he's super good, and
He just like
you know?
does all these little
Yeah,
things on the
exactly.
floor. That's what Derek White's going to be like when he's older, kind of thing.
he's kind of like that now in some sense.
Yeah, but he's like really athletic and is like, you notice
Yeah.
everything that he does. With Batum, like you
Right.
don't notice everything that he does, but it's
yeah,
all
playing
contributing
smarter and
positively.
not like harder necessarily.
Mhm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The funniest part for me was when it was John Hollinger and so I don't remember who else was on the call. I was watching
Yeah.
it on YouTube, and on the NBA channel, and he was like, "I think Evan Fournier would be a really good addition to the Nuggets." No. It's kind of funny that
I want Alexa Abramovich.
Yeah, I was
honestly.
thinking that. I'm like,
I've
get
been
this
saying that
dude.
for months at this point.
Get this guy. He's so good at defense.
I mean, honestly, he'd basically be Christian without. Well, I don't know. I don't know who's
How's
a more
his three
consistent
ball?
shooter. I don't really either of them like handling the ball too much. The
Yeah.
three ball is like your
Okay.
best kind of thing.
Mm.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how he looks this summer. I only got the World Cup sample last year to judge him by, but I'm excited to dig into these teams more when we get into our Olympic previews and covering the Olympics as they go on. But that was a really exciting game.
Yeah, it was really fun. But let's talk about our starting point guard because he played for
Yeah, he
Canada.
did play. Yes,
No
Team
less.
Canada, Team USA had their first. It was the first exhibition games for either team. I will say that both teams largely looked rusty as hell.
Yeah.
With very few exceptions. SGA is playing with Team Canada. They had Dylan Brooks, Lou Dort, Dwight Powell's the starting center, and Jamal, of course. And then Team USA had Drew Holiday, Steph Curry, Devin Booker, LeBron, and Joel Embiid. So let's talk about our starting point guard first and foremost. Not a good shooting night.
Yeah. Chemistry is a real thing in this Olympics where
Yeah.
it's going to affect teams who are going to go further, I believe, because, none of these guys play together all the time. And
Except SGA and Lou Dort.
yeah, yes, that's true. And
Can I
Ant
just
was playing against Nikhil Alexander-Walker in this
That's
game,
true.
which was funny.
That's true. I will say I was a little bit more disappointed with Team Canada in this game than anything. Jamal's the only new member of the starting lineup, but I don't
Yeah,
think
he
he
didn't
wasn't someone that
play.
was trying to like soak up usage or anything and change the way that they play. So, but the fact that the rest of them had all played together last summer and still didn't look like they knew how to play together
I
was
think
weird.
we've been wanting Jamal to maybe add some off-ball stuff even on the Nuggets because his catch and shoot's really good. Like the
Well,
stats are really good,
I
but
think Jamal is good off ball, but we don't have any other ball handlers on the team at the
yeah, he
moment
can
to
at the
allow
moment.
him
Well,
to
that's
do stuff.
that's what I'm saying is like if we get that and he
Right.
could do that, that would be
Yeah.
really nice. So in like a vacuum on a team where we're not sure how their chemistry is right now with like SGA and Jamal, and in this new configuration, it's going to take time. It was
Yeah.
the first game. You still hope that when he does get his looks, he's going to hit him and like look pretty good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really there.
Yeah.
How
Was
like
not.
concerned are you about like that poor shooting? Because we know he can do it. We know Jamal, but like
Right. Like, I want to see him make shots, but for the most part, I thought his process off ball was like pretty good. I think a lot of people were complaining because he was like standing in a corner at the beginning of the game, but Team Canada's like whole like team space and chemistry was off. And I think after that initial stint, Jamal was doing a lot more like movement off ball, trying to get open, and then you'd have situations where he was coming off a pin down, whatever, finds himself open, and then Dylan Brooks just decides to call his own number.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I just think that it's like a chemistry thing. I want to see him make the shots when he does get the open shots. So I want to see that. But more than anything, I just want to see like better from Team Canada because they're in the group of death, and if they play like that against anyone else
I
in that
know.
group, they're done.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna admit I'm not like a super like Euro League international
Yeah.
basketball follower. Like I'm an NBA follower. So I have to like readjust my brain in a way where like I see the roster of Canada and I'm like, this isn't actually like that impressive to me. I'm like RJ Barrett, like
Right. Yeah.
Powell, like
Well, I mean, part of why it's not impressive for FIBA, by FIBA standards, at least offensively, is there aren't a lot of great passers on that team. Like Kelly Olynyk's the best passer on that team, and he is a really good passer. So it's not
hmm
no like down. I think that after him, it's Jamal. And then there's
yeah,
a steep drop off,
very
actually. Because
steep.
there were a lot of these passes that were made to either Jamal or somebody else on the perimeter that were just like these wild off target like kick out passes. They'd have to like run out to catch, and then by then, like Drew Holiday has recovered back to you, so
Yeah.
there's no advantage created. But you're right, like chemistry matters so much in this, and you're not impressed with the roster, but there are a lot of
Yeah.
good players
Well,
there.
yeah, there is, and that's what
It's
I
just
was.
not Team USA.
Yeah, I'm used to looking at these NBA rosters and like this is a national team. It's these people coming together, play for their country. They have an MVP candidate level player in SGA on the team, which is great. Like every country would want a player who's that level. Jamal is a champion. He's a top 20 player, whatever. However, he used to be in the top 15. So it's like they have these great individual players. It's just about like now putting it together, and I think they've had success. So I'm not saying Team Canada as a whole is like doomed. But when I was looking at the roster, I was kind of like, I don't really believe that this team can, even maybe not make it to the semis, which kind of seems like maybe they're ceiling with what we're seeing from other teams.
Ooh, so you think they could get knocked out in the quarterfinals? I will say I could see that too, but it's not because of evaluating Canada's roster and their talent level. It's more recognizing how good other teams are, and they don't necessarily
Yeah.
have the same like chemistry deficit
Yeah.
that Canada seems to have right now. Whereas like Canada has the same chemistry deficit as Team USA, but they don't have that overwhelming talent advantage that
Right.
can make up for it.
They might, but it would take a like huge effort from like SGA
Yeah.
to just like take over a game or
I think
something.
that the country of Canada would be incredibly disappointed if they didn't.
Yeah, at least get to there.
I think they want a medal. Like, I think
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
Team Canada, if you're a Canadian like basketball fan, like you want Canada to medal at this competition because they do have the talent to do it. Although I do think that the one like major deficiency of this roster, besides the passing thing, but they can figure that out with more chemistry, is they don't have great bigs on this team,
Mm,
and a lot like so many of
yeah,
these other the best FIBA teams have like very skilled, very big centers that are probably going to take advantage of Canada. I'm curious to see how that ends up playing out because their group, I think France is the only like big team in that group, and I'm air quoting even though they have like probably the tallest aggregate front court with
yeah.
Rudy and Wemby,
I
but they're
mean,
not like back to the basket, like gonna bully you all the way centers, although Wemby has pride. Yeah, I think that the other thing with FIBA is that they have the shorter 3-point line and no defensive 3 seconds, which changes the spacing. It makes it
hmm
easier to defend, especially isolations. We saw SGA struggle mightily in this game. A lot of people talking about Jamal, but
yeah,
SGA
Shea
went, I
too.
believe it was 3 of 10 in
Yeah,
that game. He was getting fully crowded in the paint, and I think he needs to work on not improving his passing vision, but just like you got to give up the ball faster and earlier when you see the help starting to come over, because that tight spacing in FIBA really, really incentivizes passing over anything on offense because you have to work really hard and move the ball around a lot to create a good
get an
advantage
opportunity.
on
Yeah.
offense. Yeah. Is it like I have this like crazy idea because I think SGA is like the best guy on the ball there, but I also think that SGA is like the best slasher that Canada
hmm
has.
Yeah.
And it's not that Jamal's great at creating advantages, but he can operate really well at a pick and roll on the ball. And I think he's a better passer than anyone else in the starting lineup. Is it like crazy to just get more time with Jamal on the ball and then let SGA operate off? Because
hmm
if they're able to create it, SGA with an advantage is scoring.
Yeah,
Instead of having
that's true.
SGA have to create the advantage every time, especially because his best method of advantage creation is in isolation.
hmm
That's how he operates in OKC. That's why the 5-out spacing is so important to them. But it's harder to do that with FIBA spacing. So actually, if you can get somebody else that's able to create the advantage, and it's not that Jamal's not good at isolation, that's not his thing, but he's a really good operator in pick and roll. I think he's a better passer than SGA is. If we can figure out ways to just get SGA the ball, maximize the
If
talent
you can
there.
free him up off ball, and if they're gonna stay home, which
Yeah.
they will, that's gonna create some space too for stuff like even if they don't go to him. So
Yeah.
I don't know. They got to try something. There's other exhibition games. They should give it a shot.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to ask you, how did you feel watching LeBron and Steph play together?
I actually felt pretty emotional about it.
Because were you like conflicted? Because
Yeah,
like
I
you love
was.
LeBron, but you hate Steph.
Yeah, but it's like I am a little bit like there's some nostalgia there with the Cavs Warriors finals,
Mm.
and I know Nuggets fans like we don't like Californian teams for the most part, and especially the Lakers.
The
And
Warriors are also there.
yes, they're also there. But yeah, just seeing them together and thinking of those times, and I know like LeBron has been, what word do you want to use? Glazing Steph? Brown nosing Steph? Giving him his respect, giving him his flowers, whatever you want to use.
Like
He,
giving him compliments.
yeah, but it's heavy. And I'm
Like
like,
when?
oh, like the past like 4 years or
Oh,
whatever,
okay.
just like he's been
Long
like,
term.
Steph's so good, like I would love to play with him. He changed the game, all that,
Yeah,
which is true.
it
But
is
like
true.
it's LeBron's like
Yeah.
corny, manipulative little
Sure.
like game that he
It's
plays.
interesting then that
Yeah.
earlier this season they talked about how like after the trade deadline, all that I think it was
Yeah,
Ramona Shelburne piece came out that Golden
exactly.
State was like inquiring about Lakers, like would
I've
LeBron be interested in it? And all that story revealed that his camp said he was not interested in leaving the Lakers, all of that stuff. Which maybe that's what was said, maybe it wasn't, but I haven't seen anything come out to like refute that telling of the story
hmm
that would benefit any one of these three sides: LeBron, Lakers,
yeah.
Warriors. So I don't know. Like, do you think LeBron actually wants to play with Steph, like in the NBA?
I think LeBron definitely wants to play with Steph, but I think that he knows that he would get a lot of criticism, like if he had to go to the Warriors. At this point, though, like it's been far enough and he's old enough that if he did it, it might be a little understandable because the Warriors are on like a huge, like Clay just left, for example, so that would help. It would be cool to see them play together because they were like the two kind of guys during that little stretch.
That'd be so weird.
And it would be fun to see them play, and like they actually do kind of complement each other, and like
I mean,
they're both really smart.
They're like the perfect pairing almost. Like the only more perfect pairing would be like Jokic and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. But like LeBron always needs like sharpshooters.
Or like Jokic and LeBron.
Ooh, yeah, that'd be cool too. I've always said the Lakers are kind of like an old, reliable brand, like business that's been around for a while that's like failing now.
Right.
And the Warriors are like the Silicon Valley like boom business that's like super powerful, and they need to absorb the old brand and merge and come together because the perfect point. They need to like become one team and then they'd be okay, but they're not. So whatever. They can just not be good this year, and that's fine with Nuggets fans. But it was just kind of cool from a basketball perspective. Don't like crucify me for
crucify him. It'll be fun for me to watch. But in the meantime, please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification bell, like Will said, anything to make sure our videos make it to your feeds. Share it with your family, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies. Tell them to like hit the like button and not the dislike button. Yes. All of those things. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Amazon Music, anywhere you get your podcasts. And hang out with Will is fun too.
Yeah, in person episode.
To my surprise.
Who knows the next time we'll be in person, but you know.
Yeah.
You never know.
We don't know.
But honestly, it's easier almost doing whatever. They don't need to know the background.
They don't need to know all the work we'll have to do to set this up.
Yes.
Yeah, but I really appreciate it.
But it was awesome.
And always remember that winning is fun and losing sucks.